Okay, ma'am, how are you doing down at the bottom? You
I'm
just
good, Kevin. How are you?
good. How old are you?
I'm 27.
27. Ma'am, the lady just came in. How old are you?
I'm 38.
38. So you're 28, 27, 38. So 27-year-old. What do you think about the concept of sharing a man? Be honest.
I do not agree to that at all.
Okay. 38. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I don't agree to it.
All right. So we're going to start at 38 first. Do you have any children?
Yes, I do.
27. Do you have any kids?
I have two kids.
Okay. 38. How many kids? One, two, three, four, one.
Two.
Okay. How many fathers? One, two.
My ex-husband, one.
So why don't you? What do you disagree? Or why don't you agree?
I what I don't want is I was able to get married and it didn't work out. We both went our separate ways. We were married for about 15 years, so it was okay.
Okay.
But what I wouldn't want is to accept someone that I have to share because I would not want to give that example to my daughter
Okay.
just to avoid all of that in the future.
Okay. You have two kids.
Yes.
You have a son too, or just two
I
daughters?
have my son is 12 and my daughter's 19.
So think about the example you'd be giving to your son that he should accept a woman with two kids.
For my son, if he has to, if that's his choice, where
No, 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 no. Now, see, I want you to understand how differently. When you said you don't want to set a bad example for your daughter, but I'm saying, what about your son? And you went to his choice. I mean, before he makes his choice, we talk about the example.
yeah, I wouldn't want him. Yeah, I wouldn't want him to be with anybody that has kids for both of them.
Okay, so I think you ladies need to start putting what your son sees ahead of what your daughter does. Because
And
let me tell you why. Because if you don't like the kind and caliber of man that's in the world, you got to create a better man.
and that's exactly what I agree 1000%.
Okay,
I agree with that.
but I'm gonna challenge you though. You're divorced. Just so we know who filed for divorce.
I did.
Okay. You want to share what grounds it was on?
Um, I didn't feel that there was like a mutual work towards the relationship.
Irreconcilable differences.
Yeah, basically.
Reagan fucked the world when he made no fault divorce because that means nothing to us as men. But what we do know is right now, and I'm coming to you, man, in a second. At 38, you've already been married.
Hmm.
You've got two kids, man. You've got as high as you can, as any woman can get, and that wasn't good enough. So a man that you would get with has to share you with one, two kids, and an ex-husband.
Hmm.
One man has to share one woman with three people. Make that math work.
If you put it like that, you're right. But I have my realistic expectations of the person that I will end up. And I'm not going to shoot like everybody else that thinks, oh my God, I need the top tier. That's not going to happen. I know my reality. And if I don't
Well, it
have
doesn't
that,
matter if you want top
and, it,
tier or not, but man,
and
even
it's,
an average, good, decent man,
mhm.
he doesn't deserve any less than a high value man.
I'm sorry?
Even an average, decent, run of the mill man doesn't deserve less respect. When did men back in the day who were average, middle class, run of the mill have to share their wife with four people or three people?
I
Back in
hear
the
you.
day, back in the
I hear
day, 100 years ago, 80 years ago, you got married and your wife had your kids. And any kid in the house, you don't anything your wife was doing, that was part of your family. So she was investing in your legacy. Right now, a man would be coming into your life and he's splitting the time with your kids, co-parenting with another man, and do you work?
yes.
And a job.
Well,
So,
one kid,
ladies, I just need you to think
one
about the
girl.
math. Think about the math. If I'm your man, how much of your time do I actually get?
In all honesty, I can only give you, in the beginning, I'm going to let you know about 70%.
So that means I can go get the 30 someplace else or just don't get it.
And if you decide and that's what you want to go for, then we're not going to work out. That's just plain and simple.
So you can come to the table with 70% of your time, but I got to give you 100% of my commitment.
For me, if you have kids, if you have a job, if you have hobbies,
but okay,
if
but
you have
most
all
men
of
don't
that,
have kids. Most men don't have kids. So I just want to do the math, ma'am. I just want to stick to the math. Math is logic. You can come to the table and give me 70% of your time at best, but I got to give you 100% of my commitment. Why is that a good deal for me? Make the business make sense.
it is a good deal if you don't have kids. If you don't have kids, it's a bad deal, and you should run if you don't have kids. But what my realistic goal is,
51% of black men are single. Most men don't have kids. Most guys don't.
what is the statistic on there, or what did you say?
51%, black men in particular, 51% of black men are single and childless. 61% in the middle class. That's why I talked about Future earlier. That one has 8 kids by 8 different women. A small percentage of the men have always made a large percentage of the men. 1/16, 1 in every 16 people shares Genghis Khan's DNA. This is why I don't understand from a historical and sociological standpoint, women have always shared the best men. And if you want a man that can meet your standard, man, do you think he can meet another woman's standard?
Yeah, he probably can.
Okay. Do you think your standards are below, average, or above?
My standard, I would say, realistically, are below.
Below?
Below.
Okay. Well, all right. Ma'am, 27. You said you don't agree. I'm coming back to you. Thank you. 27. Why don't you have 1 kid or 2?
2.
The digitized lady. 2 kids?
Yes,
How many
2
fathers?
kids. 1.
How many fathers? Were you married or not?
No, not married.
Okay, so why do you disagree? Go ahead.
I understand your point of view, where you're coming from, where if any men I was to be with, he is sharing me and the 2 kids and the father. But at the same time, like, if the father is not in the picture or doing what he's supposed to do, how is that still sharing?
Well, you still haven't told me why you disagree with the notion of sharing a man. I'll answer your question, but why you disagree with sharing time, sharing your man with other women?
I just feel like it's a waste of time, because I mean, I already have 2 kids, so if I do decide to be with a man, if I am putting 100% of my time into you, I want the same thing back, and I would not want to
Ma'am, you
share.
can't put 100% of your time with a man. Ma'am, something's wrong with your connection. But as a woman with children, you can't put 100% of your time in a man. You mean 100% of the time you have left?
Yes.
Okay, so again, do you have a job?
Yes.
Okay. You have 2 children and a full-time job, and an ex. I mean, ladies, do y'all not see the math from the men's standpoint? If you were a man, what would you be thinking right now? That a woman with kids and a job and an ex, and I only get a certain amount of time, but I got to give you 100% of my commitment.
So are you saying that if men have to share, if we have kids, or, you know, that we should be okay with sharing a man? Is that what you're saying?
Say again?
So basically, like, if we expect a man to be okay with us, or be okay with them sharing us, our baby fathers, and our kids, we should be okay sharing them with other women, is what you're saying?
I'm saying you're not a virgin. If in this situation with kids, you've already been shared.
Yeah.
You come through the door with commitments. I was actually talking about women with no kids, but women with kids, you got even less of a claim on a man's time.
Yeah.
That's why we kind of got here with the woman that had the kids. I'm like, whoa. But I want you guys to understand how the way that I originally said it was women over 35, and because your sexual marketplace value is lower just because of age and things like that. But the more things you put on it, the lower the value becomes. But that woman came through the door with 2 kids by 2 different men, talking like she's a 9 or a 10. And she's actually like a 2 or a 3 on the sexual marketplace totem pole. And she talking, and that's what men are thinking. That's why men are like, what are y'all talking about? But what it goes to show is the value women put on a man. Y'all, whether you say it or not, you put your value above ours. That's why you expect us to accept your children and your job and everything else. Okay, Miss 27-year-old. You asked me about men and kids. Go ahead and ask the question again. You broke up a little bit. Mississippi Wireless. Okay.
You said man.
Get
Are
close
you
to the
want me to
window or
answer the
something.
question?
You got to get close to the window. You're breaking up. Everybody else is in frame. You look like a puzzle. So okay. So what is the objection? 38. What's the objection? I get it that you've been married, you got 2 kids, but practically, you're a middle-aged woman with 2 kids. Why do you still believe you should get the same level of commitment and value as you did when you were a young childless woman?
Honestly, I just feel that in my mind, I already have it made up. I already had that marriage experience, the family life. I've had it. Like you said, I already hit the top, my peak. So by me thinking in that sense, which is true, either I'm going to take what I want or what I need or what I feel that I can put up with, or I'm not. I already experienced it. And if I can get anything that for me is acceptable, because I'm not going to be sharing with him. He's not going to be sharing with me.
Sure
He's
he
not
is,
going to
man. He's sharing you with your kids. I've been
with
a stepfather.
with one. Exactly.
Man,
So
one period. He's sharing you with he's sharing you with a kid and a job. So
yes.
let me ask you a question. You expect to have continual raising value as you age?
No. It's going to lower.
When?
But expectation is already there. If I have to share with anybody, I'm not doing it. Like you said, I'd rather buy a dog and I'd rather be alone. I'm being
But I need you to understand what you're really doing when you say that. It sounds empowering, but it's really fucked up. Let me tell you why. Because your son is going to make sure he's going to live his life to be around you because you will get old.
Yeah.
That will limit your child. Your daughter will also feel, your children are going to feel that mom needs us near because she's a single woman. And it's going to impact their relationships. I know what I speak of very well. Listen, daughters, man, I speak about mother-daughter stuff all the time. It sounds cool when you're 38, but when you're 58 and your son and your daughter are trying to get out and become adults on their own, they got to factor in mama. Is that fair?
No, it's not, which they're not being raised in that way.
Ma'am, they're human. It doesn't matter how you think they're being raised.
And in my culture, regardless, that happens. Regardless, in my culture, it happens. Right?
What culture is that?
I'm Latina. I'm Mexican.
Well, in your culture, you're also supposed to stay in your marriage.
If the man is willing to provide. If he's not a hardworking, if he's not providing, if he's not putting in work, then you're
Then you
not.
shouldn't have married him.
People change over the years, so you get one person.
This is bullshit.
I'm
No. Man, come
serious.
on now. Come on, hold on. Man, and here's the funny thing. You can be right. And it sounds real empowering, but your culture doesn't change the fact that this is how kids act. That's why so many women, especially in our community, have come out and asked me, you do more videos on mother-daughter stuff. This is why so many of our women are fucking unmarried, because their mothers aren't married. And they gotta stay close. Your mama married 27?
I'm 28, but yeah, my
28.
mom's married.
Okay, but you know what I'm talking about. And you say you'd rather die alone. Okay, so you saying that you would rather, if you cannot get what you want.
Now, not entirely what I want, just not sharing. I'm not doing that. I don't want
Okay,
to.
that's fine, ma'am. That's fine. But I want to be clear. A man is sharing you because you've already had somebody else's kids, and that's it. He's going to be that if he marries you, he'd be a stepfather. So your children are going to be getting some of his money. It's just going to happen. Yes, ma'am. Christmas gifts, birthday presents, Thanksgiving turkey. Ma'am, I've been there on that side before. Y'all need to stop with the bullshit. Y'all act like your kids exist in a vacuum. And what I want people to understand is how selfish you guys are. You're the most selfish group of women that has ever existed on this fucking planet. Me. It's all about you. So how do you get a culture that you're in your culture, ma'am? How do you get a culture with so many selfish women?
It's not. Unfortunately, not all of them are like that. There's a lot of marriages that are older. They've been, that they had over 30 years old, where they don't say the truth. They are not happy. The women are not happy.
I asked you, how do you get a culture with selfish women?
How do you get a culture with selfish women? I don't know how to answer that.
You don't.
I don't know. I'm not.
You don't.
I don't know.
You get chaos. And older women didn't prioritize happiness. That's the problem. Y'all think you're supposed to be happy. Y'all need to grow up. It ain't about being happy. Older women, other generations prioritize family, community. They live the selfless life. Modern women are selfish as French toast. And that's why I have no problem telling y'all to kick rocks and die a cold death alone. I have no problem telling y'all that, because y'all look around and look back at the cultures and the communities and the things that women did before you and the sacrifices and everything else everybody made, and they did not do it to have a bunch of selfish, entitled women saying, my way or the highway.
It's not like that. It's not. If I'm a good woman, which I was for 15 years,
okay.
Everything, I do have value still.
I don't say you don't have value, ma'am. I'm not saying, and that's the thing. I'm not saying you don't have value. What I'm ultimately asking is, I don't understand why you guys can not separate the two thoughts. Mm-hmm. You are being shared, ma'am. You have two kids, an ex-husband, and a job. A man has to take what's left. And he doesn't even, and usually if you have two kids, at least they're mine. All the time you're putting into other things, that's time you're not investing in me, in mine. Men are territorial. This is why men listen to this and they're like, no.